Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm laying down some of my thoughts on a recent trend that has emerged on TikTok called the Benadryl Challenge. Now, this channel is no stranger to high Benadryl doses, but the main difference here is the intention. Many of the people following this Benadryl Challenge are young adolescents with no great understanding on what taking a lot of Benadryl does to you. In result, there have been many hospitalizations and reported deaths of young teenagers. In this video, we'll be laying out exactly the motivations for this Benadryl challenge, why it's a thing, the potential risk you put yourself by taking high doses, the response the media and FDA has given, and just my general thoughts on the entire matter. So hopefully all of you can find this helpful and informative, and without further ado, let's dive right into this. So why are young kids deciding to take a lot of Benadryl? Well, it isn't Benadryl itself so much, than it is just a challenge to do. This is far from being the first dangerous challenge posted on the internet though. I'm sure we can think of some more mild challenges in the past. I can think of some of the first ones like the cinnamon challenge, where you would basically just choke on a bunch of powder you put in your mouth, or like the ghost pepper challenge, where you just burn your mouth away with the world's hottest pepper. More recently though, the nutmeg challenge is being done, so it isn't just Benadryl alone. But Benadryl has risen up. Why? I'm guessing some people took it and made anecdotes that it can get you high in a way. Some people simply may have become aware of the potential difficult trips you can have and scary hallucinations you can see on Benadryl, making this more fit for a challenge. Often though, people will undermine the risk or aren't even fully aware of them, making it so that some may just casually pass along challenge nominations. Then nominees may simply not think twice about taking a handful of Benadryl. This is probably also because it's so common that some may come to think there is no risk involved. The potential for ignorance to spread throughout the platform is very real, and we can see that some people may end up fucking up their lives or even losing it. And the TikTok demographic is most likely going to be more prone to these types of challenges, seeing that it is mainly younger people. There is little emphasis on credibility, let alone doing basic research. And beyond the ignorance is the appeal of fame. Racking up a lot of views and followers is appealing to many, and we see all types of outlandish behavior people will commit to just for this. But some may be aware that Benadryl can cause difficult effects, but the response it can garner on social media might be appealing enough. Now I just want to say, if there are any people out there thinking like that, I urge you to seriously consider what you're doing and the potential harm you may be doing to yourself, and then ask yourself, is this shit really worth it? I mean really, if we look at it from a social aspect, many of the people who end up doing these challenges are looked at as if they're jumping on a trend. And a lot of people who end up doing these types of challenges only get like a few thousand views, if that. And it's like, hell no, I ain't about to fuck up the rest of my 12 hours just for that, or even potentially my life. But even if you do get a viral video out of it, many of these people tend to come out as one-hit wonders, unless you want to commit to these challenges, or you may strike lucky and end up having a likable personality. But these ifs are pretty rare, keep in mind, and I don't think you should commit to challenge videos either necessarily, especially if it's detrimental to your health. We can look at a lot of mukbang content creators and see how stuffing their face in all the time impacts their health. Some experience some pretty serious life changes from it. But for the most part, there is a desire of attention from many of these participants, but many are ignorant of what taking a lot of Benadryl can actually do to you. This is one thing I want to bring up that really applies to many users and just people in general. We normally like to use what is easily available to us. And what do you know? Benadryl is only like the most common over-the-counter medicine in the world. Find that shit pretty much at any grocery store, almost any convenience store, tons of off-brands as well. The only other thing that would really compare is DXM, which that's probably more popular in terms of recreational use. But like other challenges, like the cinnamon challenge or nutmeg challenge, these substances can easily be found in one's household to where you probably won't even have to go and buy any. That being said, it just being an over-the-counter in general, it may contribute to a stigma that it must have a safe profile. But because of how available it is, this simply contributes to why this Benadryl challenge even exists. Now, I'm not going to bombard this video with potential adverse effects of Benadryl. Why? Well, because I am in the works of a Why Benadryl Sucks episode, so we'll save the bulk of that information for that video. Here I just want to lay some quick facts and then mention some of the reports of Benadryl we've done where people experience negative effects. But let's just point out that in high doses, Benadryl acts as a deliriant. What is a deliriant? A deliriant substance provides hallucinations that are often indistinguishable from reality. For example, this could be something like seeing someone who isn't there, like a best friend or family member, and having a whole ass conversation with them. It could be a bunch of insects, such as spiders, centipedes, or wasps, or anything really. Another common hallucination tends to be phantom cigarettes, where users will start smoking cigarettes that aren't actually there. Other than this, you can come to hallucinate whole ass nightmares pretty much, but depending on the dosage, you may come to fear all that you're hallucinating. Having extreme anxiety and paranoia is definitely a possibility. Experiencing feelings of dysphoria is very possible too, where you pretty much feel down or dissatisfied with everything. You can feel that things are just wrong and end up in a depressed state. Or we've seen users where they come to think all their hallucinations are normal, which probably has a negative impact on judgment. Many users may simply commit to behaviors that are bizarre to sober people. This could be walking around aimlessly in the middle of the night, it could be getting into fights with random people or the police, or it could be acting like a complete babbling moron in front of someone like your parents or other family members. Some people simply black out from the experience and come to find out later they did all this stupid stuff. For some, it ends them up in jail or getting sent to rehab, or like I said earlier, it can lead to death. Even without the physical impact, you can put yourself in dangerous situations. But beyond the trip and feelings you may have, the physical impact of that much Benadryl can be just as threatening. The effects will vary upon the dose, but it is possible to experience severe cardiac issues when taking high doses. Abnormal heartbeats are known to be somewhat common. It will most likely be dehydrating and cause heavy fatigue. You can have motor loss control, muscle spasms, even brain damage, just to name a few more things. But I want to bring up a few reports we've covered so we can get an up-close and personal idea of what can go wrong from taking too much Benadryl. The first report I want to bring up is actually the only report we've ever had to take down because the user requested it. This is an OG report that was really popular, and some of you may remember it. It's called Benadryl 1750 milligrams. Now during his experience, he saw quite the bit that I'll leave unsaid. I'll just say this: dead rat boxer in your bed, to refresh your memory a bit if you did see it. But afterwards, he mentions feeling emotionally disconnected, unable to feel the most basic things in life, and experience thoughts of suicide even. He did leave a final statement on the report: I will never try this stuff again, and nobody else should either. If you guys want to acquire dementia and brain tumors at an early age by continuously recreationally using this drug, be my guest. However, you're the only person to blame when your life is ruined as a result of using a drug that isn't even enjoyable. Now, it wasn't until almost 8 months later did he hit me up again, asking for the video to be taken down. He told me he suffered serious health complications from this one experience. This includes brain and heart damage. He said he would experience severe tachycardia and persistent headaches. He had symptoms of a thought disorder as well. He notes, I can hardly keep a train of thought, and life doesn't feel the same as it used to. It's hell. I deeply regret the experience. See what I mean by how this stuff can end up fucking up your life? The next experience I want to bring up is DPH 1000 milligrams by Madav. Madav did experience a lot of trip-like effects, but would constantly forget what he was doing, had antisocial tendencies, and it left him with a 2-day hangover that he compared to having the flu. After that, he mentions being put in states of sleep paralysis, which, if you don't know, it's like having a waking dream. Your mind is awake, but you can't move or do anything with your dreams still persisting. He would experience this commonly with nightmarish themes. He also developed HPPD, hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, basically where you still hallucinate or see things after the trip is over. He says, I constantly find myself seeing things in my peripheral vision and having to check if they are real, such as dogs, cars, people. It's not very disruptive, as I realize they are not real almost instantaneously, but it is quite nerve-wracking. The next experience is I Thought the Night Had Ended by Kay. Kay took 700 milligrams in hopes of seeing things like spiders and other scary hallucinations. He spent the night with his friends and noted seeing nothing and just going to sleep. But come the next day, and his mom is asking why he was walking around in the streets at 4 a.m. He apparently had a whole conversation with his mom and asked her to buy a pizza for him and his friends. He notes after, it was a bad, frightening experience because he could have ended up doing anything when he blacked out. It's easy to see how something like this could end you up in an accident somewhere. The final report I want to bring up is a very recent one, Don't Underestimate Your Drugs by Arrow Bolt, where him and two friends took 2,500 milligrams. Now this I'm sure was the largest dose we've covered yet, as most people would consider this a suicide dose and would never dare to go that far in. Shit, even the dose at 1,750 milligrams raises questions. But going into this, Arrow and his friends took it very lightly. Arrow did little research beforehand and was convinced to do it by his friend. This report does highlight how assumptions and little care can lead to dangerous states with substances. But after they took it, Arrow and his friends ended up ditching his truck in the middle of some neighborhood to where they proceeded to walk around aimlessly with his dog. They ended up knocking on random people's doors and got separated eventually. It was thought that he may have even walked into someone's house on accident. He also notes that they were falling all over the place from motor loss control, and that from this, they also sustained multiple injuries. But both his friends seemed to suffer the worst, as they were diagnosed at the hospital with rhabdomyolysis, a condition where the muscles begin to break down. But we'll leave it there. Hopefully this can give you an idea of the potential risk of high Benadryl doses. Now the recent response to this has mainly been a statement from the FDA saying that they'll investigate the issue. Not anything surprising. Media outlets, of course, have sort of jumped onto this as it is newsworthy, mainly trying to reach out to concerned parents and other authority figures. Well, what should actually be done about this? Personally, I do think Benadryl could have a stricter policy. I've already seen it at certain stores before where they keep it behind the glass. Again, people are most likely going to use what's on hand, and Benadryl is often out and about in the over-the-counter section. The same could be said for DXM and some others as well. Partially, I think this could do better simply than putting all over-the-counters behind the glass, but that may be a solid solution in itself. But focusing on the products that may provide possible recreational effects may be effective enough, as no one's really getting an over-the-counter like ibuprofen, which really won't do shit unless you actually need it. While I do think the purchase of over-the-counters can be warranted to someone under the age of 18, I think overall it would help slow down the abuse of these products if there was such a restriction. But this probably wouldn't be enough alone, especially considering most people have this in their medicine cabinet. So it's important to stress the education of these substances, not only for the parents and authority figures, but for anyone considering doing it. We have to urge people to learn more about what they're getting into. And it's also on us as a community to not appropriate or support this kind of behavior, but rather become characters of concern and make sure the people involved are informed on the matter. So at the end of the day here, we can see Benadryl has come around and be a target of abuse for social purposes. It was probably bound to happen at some point, and we'll most likely continue to see other substances be targets of abuse as well in the future. but there are things we can do to help slow down the harm being done. Proper education is one that can seriously change someone's mind on this, but I imagine this will be something that will take time to change if there is anything done about it. But as a community, we can help pick each other up and prevent potential hazards stemmed from ignorance. So we're going to end it there today. If you want me to talk about something else or something similar, let me know in the comments below and we can get to it. If you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials. It's been someone that's no one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.